Hello and welcome to week 6, our final week of prenatal yoga following loss. Just a very gentle reminder that while yoga is generally considered safe for all trimesters, we are recommending that this class is for those over 14 weeks. And obviously I am not with you, so please move in a way that feels right for your body and baby. Any pain or discomfort, stop, modify. Do what feels right for you. So for our final class today, I thought it would be really lovely to leave you with what I would consider a really beneficial daily sequence. So we're going to work through some breath work. We're then going to stretch into all areas of the body, especially focusing in the hips. Some of these movements that we are taking in the hips are really beneficial for lengthening through the pelvic floor, which is really beneficial, especially when we're hitting that 37-week mark. I should mention that you may want to have either some yoga blocks or big bean tins just to give us a bit of space in the chest, or perhaps if you're at the stage of using a yoga ball, birthing ball, then you can use that. I will talk you through how to do so. But for now, let's begin with a little bit of breath work. So let's bring the hands to baby. Maybe we close down the eyes. And as always, let's begin by taking 3 conscious breaths together. So inhale deeply through the nose, open the mouth, sigh. Inhale. Open the mouth, sigh. One more. Open the mouth. And then let's come straight into our extended exhale. So this breathing in through the nose for a count of 3 or 4. And then allowing the jaw to soften, mouth gently open, exhaling for a count of 6 or 8. Noticing perhaps if there's any areas in the body where we're holding tension, and using the breath to bring about this sense of softness. So allow the shoulders to melt down the back. Tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. Jaw and forehead softening. And if our mind starts to wander, as it so frequently does, just come back to counting the breath. Use the breath as your anchor point. This breath that we know stimulates the vagus nerve and quite literally, physically, switches us out of our state of fight or flight and into a feeling of rest and digest. As we take our final few moments here, perhaps using this breath to connect with your baby, knowing that with your inhale you bring fresh oxygen and space to baby. And on your exhale, you bring this sense of grounding, security, comfort, and of course the removal of toxins. Okay, let's gently blink the eyes open and release the hands. We're going to bring the hands either side of us down to the earth. Walk the fingertips out so the arms are nice and straight. Bring the chin towards the chest. And then just allow right ear to come towards right shoulder. Feeling a stretch down this left side of the neck. And then bringing chin back through midline down towards chest, left ear towards left shoulder. Let's go back in the opposite direction. So chin comes through center towards chest. And then over to the right ear. And then again, back through center, all the way over to the left. Bring the chin back through center and bring the head back up. We're going to press that right hand into the earth. Lift left palm towards the sky, crescent. Left arm over left ear, bringing space into the left side body. Really focusing that you're not kind of letting that right ear dump into right shoulder. So find length, space between right ear, right shoulder. Gaze underneath left armpit. And perhaps you're coming back to that extended exhale here. Bring the shoulders to melt down the back. Let's bring that left hand back down towards the earth and we switch over to the other side. So this time it's the right palm towards the sky. Crescent right arm over right ear. And again, we find that length through the left shoulder, left ear. So we're not kind of all hunched up. Find length and space. Making sure that both sitting bones are still pressing into the earth. We're not kind of lifting through that right bum cheek. And just drink the breath in. Feel this expansion through the right side body. And then let's bring both hands back to the air. Okay, let's reach the hands high to the sky. We're going to take some cactuses. So bring the elbows parallel with the earth. Squeeze the shoulder blades together down the back. Feel a stretch across the chest. And then we lift up on the inhale. Exhale. Down. Inhale up. Let's take two more. Feeling that stretch across the collarbones. And then we lift the arms high to the sky and then use our core to twist to look towards that right knee. And then either bring left hand to the ankles or right knee. And then that right hand comes behind the sacrum. So this twist is not a forced twist. I'm not using my hands to kind of force myself round. I've used my core, or what I've got left of it, to take the twist, the gentle articulation of the spine. And then the hands are just here just to rest. But there's no discomfort, no compression around baby. Spine is nice and long. Shoulders are away from the ears. And then we gently unravel. And we come and take 5 more cactus arms. So inhale, we reach up. Exhale, we squeeze the shoulder blades together down the back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, perhaps you're even feeling a little bit of heat building in those upper arm bones, or arm muscles, I should say. Final reach up. Use the core to turn the body to look towards that left knee. And then gently we bring either right hand to ankles or left knee. And then left hand is behind the sacrum. Again, no compression, Just a gentle articulation of the spine. Okay, then let's come to release. We're going to come off our cushion or our block and come and find ourselves in all fours, ready to take our cat and cow. So we've taken this many times over the past 6 weeks. So as we inhale, we press through the shins, spine is nice and long. And as we exhale, we press through, hands around, do a little back gaze towards baby. You can either stick with me or you can go straight into your intuitive movement. Whatever feels right in your body. So maybe you begin to take some circles with the hips, remembering if you move in one direction, to then go in the opposite direction. Allow the head, the neck to hang. Perhaps if it feels comfortable, you maybe even do like a little horse lip trill. That shows how relaxed your jaw and lips are. Interestingly, quite a lot of people really struggle to do that because we're carrying so much tension in our jaw. So it's a really lovely one to practice. And kind of leaning forwards brings this sensation of softness to the face. Okay, once we've finished being horses, let's come and bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Let's bring the knees to touch and then send, or as much to touch as is comfortable, and then bring the feet just off the edge of the mat. So we're going to take our rocks backwards and forwards. So the bigger your bump, the harder it's going to be to bring that bum towards the heels. So just moving in a way that feels right for you. But knowing that this movement here lengthens through the pelvic floor, it's a really, really good posture to practice, especially in those final weeks. It can be a really great posture for birth as well. Let's take one more rock here. And then come back into all fours. We're going to send our right leg towards the back of the mat, toes up to the earth, and then we're just gently going to rock backwards and forwards on that leg, feeling a stretch in the hamstrings. Our hamstrings can often get really tight in pregnancy because of this new way of standing. And if our hamstrings are tight, that can have an impact on back pain. So this can be a really nice way just to release into the hamstrings, low effort. And then we're going to walk those right toes towards the left edge of the mat. And then bring the gaze over left shoulder, either towards the toes, or if that feels too strong, just towards the left side, feeling this openness through all of the right side of the body. And then bring right knee back to meet left. Let's just take a second to sit on our bum. Rotate through the wrists. Going in one direction and then the other. And then we'll come back onto all fours to take the other side. So we send that left leg to the back of the mat, toes stay planted, and then we just rock backwards and forwards, stretching into that left hamstring. Maybe even holding that stretch if it feels good. And then we walk those left toes over to the right side of the mat and then gaze is either towards the toes or maybe just to the right side. But again, breathing space into that left side body. If you're like me and there is a bit of sensation building in the shoulders, come back to that extended exhale. It holds us in the moment. It allows us to travel through that increase in sensation until we're at the other side. Okay, let's bring left knee back to meet right bum. Comes to heels. Maybe just take a shake out of those wrists. Now this is where if you have a birthing ball, you can feel free to roll it on in. If not, then you can stick with me using your blocks. Or perhaps you don't need blocks, perhaps you already have yoga practice and have quite a bit of flexibility. So if you're using your yoga blocks, we're bringing them in front of us so that we can bring our hands to the earth. If you are using a yoga ball, you want to kind of have your arms on it, and you might want to have that your chest kind of just resting so it's fully supporting you. We're going to push that right leg back towards the mat. And then as we exhale, we're going to draw baby in and up and then step right foot to the outside edge of the mat or our birthing ball. Maybe you want to move that back knee back ever so slightly to bring a bit more space. I need to move backwards because I've got a plant dangling in my nose. And then just allow the body to sink forward into that right hip. And then maybe you begin to stir through the hips, so taking circles. So if you're on your yoga ball, really allowing the chest to relax into the ball, so all the weight is kind of through the ball and that front foot. If you're with me, then we're just stirring into that hip, going from one direction into the other. This is really, really good birth prep, building up flexibility and strength and opening through the pelvic floor. Okay, come find stillness. If that back knee is slightly walked out, let's bring it back underneath that left hip. And then we're going to heel toe that right foot so that it is off the mat. And you want the toes pointing in a 45-degree angle, so kind of away from you towards the screen. And again, we're just going to start by gently bending into that right knee and then straightening that right leg. So again, you can do this on the birthing ball. In fact, it feels really nice on the birthing ball because you can get a slightly more upright posture. Maybe if you have yoga blocks, you come up a little higher. We're just kind of moving backwards and forwards into that right hip. And of course, there's always the option to take circles, just being really careful if you're on the higher setting of yoga blocks so they don't slip out from underneath you. Going in one direction and then the other. And then let's bring that right knee back to meet left. Come and sit bum to heels. Just take a second, perhaps noticing the difference in sensations in your right hip in comparison to your left. Perhaps the right hip is feeling far more open. Noticing how your heart rate is feeling. Okay, then we're going to come and take the other side. So either birthing ball, blocks, or maybe just the floor. We're going to step that left foot to the outside edge of left hand. So draw baby in and up. And as we exhale, we step. There's always the option to kind of move that back knee back ever so slightly if you want a bit more space. And then allow yourself to sink into that left hip. Once you're comfortable, perhaps maybe you come back into those hip circles. Remembering that if you go in one direction, you need to move in the other direction as well. So stirring the pot, stirring any stagnant energy in the hips, opening into the muscles. And of course, this is relatively strong. There's a lot of strength involved in kind of being able to get such big movements. So building strength and stamina. Okay, we come back to center. And then we heel toe, left foot off the edge of the mat. Toes are about 45 degrees. And again, there's the option, if you have stable blocks, to come onto slightly higher setting, or of course your birthing ball. And then we're just bending into that left knee, backwards and forwards, opening through that left hip. And then maybe taking some circles here. Going in one direction and then the other. Again, being really careful if you are on the higher setting of yoga blocks. Okay, let's bring left knee back to meet right. And let's come and sit the bum down onto the earth. Let's just move those yoga blocks. Let's bring the soles of the feet to the earth. Hands are behind us, and we're just allowing the knees to fall all the way to the earth. So we've done this each week, and you might find that as each week progresses, you're able to get the knees further towards the earth. The reason we've been doing this is it really helps with internal hip rotation, which can be really beneficial in labour. So allowing those knees to really soften and fall towards the earth. And then let's send those legs out in front of us. Give them a little shake. And then come back to our block or cushion. So sitting hips ever so slightly higher than the knees. Bring the soles of the feet touch. So if you want a less intense pose, bring the feet further away from the groin. If you want a more intense posture, then bring the feet towards the groin. But wherever you are, the sensation is of those knees softening and falling towards the earth. We're not pressing, it's just gravity. Maybe if you are really flexible and had this practice before, maybe you're bringing your hands to the soles of your feet and opening the soles like they're a book. But that is definitely a more advanced pose. For many of us, we're probably sitting with our feet further away from our groin, hands maybe resting on the shins, or maybe even behind us if we're feeling kind of arching or difficulty in that back. And perhaps you close down the eyes. Come back to that extended exhale. for our final few moments. Using this time to deeply connect not only with your own body and breath, but also with your baby. Knowing that when peace is within you, it comes from you. So by finding this sense of calm, this sense of peace, our baby too feels this. Okay, when you're ready, let's gently blink the eyes open. Take your hands to the outside edge of your knees, draw them back in, and maybe just give your legs a little shake. Let's recross the legs. Bring our hands to prayer at heart center. Let's bow our head towards our hands. Thank ourselves for taking the time today. Perhaps we promise to take some time every day, maybe not to do this whole sequence, but to do some of it, to carve out time to connect with our breath, our body, and our baby. And then when you're ready, let's release the hands and blink the eyes open. Namaste. Thank you ever so much for joining me on this 6-week course. Ellie's Gift is obviously a charity, so any donations are always welcome. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me and take care.